You to the newsmakers.
City
News.
Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Citi Prime News, which is live from our studios. And I'm 11, Dr. Morton Loop in Adabraka, Accra. The news is also live on all our partner stations across the country. It's also live across the globe on citynewsroom.com, Citi 97.3 FM on Facebook, and CityTube on YouTube. I am Wilma Obobi Sakoman, and this afternoon I'm here with
Caleb Kuda.
Coming up, National Road Safety Authority reveals the total number of deaths from the accident at Goma Ochirkun in the Central Region on Tuesday was 6 and not 16 as earlier reported.
Tuesday morning, we had a report from our central regional team that a crash has occurred at Ochirkun, the Goma East district of the state.
Also coming up, pension bondholders defy morning rains to resume picketing at the Finance Ministry in demand for their outstanding coupons and principals.
I think the government is going through its books today, and I believe that after going through the books, they will definitely exempt us.
Still ahead, Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia urges factions in the Boko conflict to collaborate with government and other key stakeholders to resolve disputes in the area. And later, former Member of Parliament for Asin North, James Jachikwason, officially announces intent to contest the upcoming by-elections. Stay tuned as we bring you details of all that and more on the Citi Prime News, which is also live on all our affiliate stations across the country. In the Western region, you're listening to us on Premier 100.5 FM and Beach 105.5 FM, all in Takrady. In the Bono region, we're on Greener FM 95.9 FM in Sunyani. In the Ashanti region, we're on Orange FM 107.9 in Kumasi. In the Ashanti region, in the Volta region, we're on Global 105.1 FM in Ho and Adanu, 107.7 FM in Adakluwaya. In the Northern region, you're listening to us on Diamond 93.7 FM in Tamale. In the Upper West, we're on Westlink 88.1 FM in Laura. In the Upper East, we're on Source 100.1 FM in Boko. And in the Northeast, we're on SCAP 101.3 FM in Nangpanduri.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Updates you on all the running stories and connects you to the newsmakers.
Many thanks for staying with us. We'll settle for the details of our stories now. The National Road Safety Authority has indicated that the total death toll in the Goma Ochirkun car crash is 6 instead of 16. Earlier, sections of the media reported between 15 to 16 deaths based on accounts of eyewitnesses. But in a statement, the authority says its checks rather show 6 persons passed on during the ghastly crash. It also indicates 48 passengers are currently receiving medical attention at the trauma hospital in Winneba. Pel Adusu Satakla is public relations officer of the National Road Safety Authority.
Tuesday morning, we had a report from our central regional team that a crash has occurred at Ochirkun, the Goma East district of the Central Region. We were following up, but we gathered in the media space that 16, some say 16 people, others said 15 people. We were so surprised, we were so worried that we had to follow up and get the ethnic information. Our source of information is from the Ghana Police Service. So we couldn't even grant any interview on it because we were confused. The numbers were too huge for our taking. And so we had to follow up. So in the evening, visiting the morgue, the hospital, and the police that went on the scene, we gathered that it wasn't 16 or 15 numbers that were killed in the crash. Rather, it was 6 people. All those 6 lives are very valuable and we wish they hadn't died in the crash. That was what happened. We realized that it was 6 people, but not 16. The reports that came were from some onlookers or eyewitnesses who rather said that 8, or they mentioned 8 or 10 people who were rushed to the hospital before the arrival of fire services, police, and other authorities. And so I think some of the victims escaped unhurt, and I think they moved from the place or the scene of the crash before the arrival of officers. So I think that is where the mix-up came up, where people were saying 16 people died. But records from the Winnipeg Trauma Hospital, Specialist Hospital, Morgue, and the Municipal Hospital indicate that 6 people actually killed in the crash. That's why we brought this release to correct the narrative.
That was the Public Relations Officer of the National Road Safety Authority, Pearl Adusu Setakla.
We'll stay on the MTTD and road transport related matters, and the Winnipeg Municipal Motor Transport and Traffic Directorate, MTTD, of the Ghana Police Service have handed over recorded items belonging to victims of the Gumwa-Otrekun accident, a road crash, to the leadership of the Ghana-Liberia branch of the GPRTU. Items retrieved from the bus which was involved in the accident included money and mobile phones. The Winnipeg Divisional MTTD Commander DSP Betha Bogo, who handed over the items, noted that many of the injured persons have been discharged, but one person who is in critical condition has been referred to the Kolebu Teaching Hospital.
The money which were handed, we saw in their bags or handed over to us, was $9,670 US, and then $2,630 Liberia dollars, and then 470 Ghana cedis, with 4 phones, and then 2 other mobile phones, making 6. Most of them have been discharged. There were 15 people now. One is referred to Kolebu, which we don't know the name, we don't know his condition. We are yet to visit him. But those that we visited today, there are 15 there.
That was the Winnipeg Divisional MTTD Commander DSP Betha Bogo. Meanwhile, the chairman of the Ghana-Liberia branch of the GPRTU, James Nyama, urged family members who cannot find the belongings of their relatives to approach them for identification and collection at the Gomua Putuburam GPRTU station.
Especially the Winnipeg Police, MTTU, Divisional MTTU, a very big thank you. For after the accident scene, all the money, the materials, the money, the phones, and all their luggages have been turned over to the GPRTU of TUC, Ghana Liberia chairman, for the chairman to deliver to the owners. So every passenger or anybody who have their money or their things in the bus which got an accident on the Winnipeg Highway should come to the office of the GPRTU of TUC, Ghana Liberia branch, at Gomua Bujubram for delivery of your item or your money.
That was the chairman of the Ghana-Liberia GPRTU, James Nyama.
Now, away from that, members of the Pensioner Bondholders Forum defied rainy conditions to resume picketing at the Finance Ministry today, demanding outstanding coupons and principals. Following a meeting between the ministry and the pensioner bondholders, the group suspended a similar action with a promise that all outstanding coupons would be paid while discussions about principal payments continued. 2 weeks after the suspension of the protest, government has failed to engage the pensioners on the way forward on the principals, with some coupons also outstanding. The pensioners have thus resumed the protest in hope that government will yield to their demands. The Deputy Finance Minister, Abnel Sayasari, interacted with the protesters where she pleaded for a suspension of the exercise. Here are excerpts of the interaction.
We were busy with the IMF engagements. We wanted to meet the board on the 17th. And so, respectfully, our focus, to be honest, was on that, in as much as we wanted to also address the situation at home, we needed also to address this to make it possible for us to implement the budget, including by implementing the budget, being able to pay the coupons as well. And so would ask that,
So is there a guarantee that the coupons, at least, because we haven't negotiated on those, will come regularly? If you put it on paper, that now the coupons won't be stopped. The coupons should come regularly. Then you and doctor can talk about the principals. But the coupons, please, don't stop them.
We don't intentionally stop them. It's, sometimes it's difficult. It's the ability to pay. And so when it is not there, it becomes a challenge. But we also have to communicate that to you. So for now, I think our focus should be on clearing the 5 outstanding. And then we talk about the other, how we are going to manage the principal payment. So I will plead with you. Yes, sir. Yes. Yes.
But the thing is, the coupons are like our salary.
And we understand.
No, look, the ESCOM is paid at the end of every month. You are paid at the end of every month. So we expect our coupons also to be paid at the appropriate time so that we can also live.
Yes.
We live by our coupons. Yes. So that is all that we want. It should be regular.
Yes, I sincerely understand and appreciate where you are coming from. This has never happened where coupons are ready for payment or are due for payment and government has refused to pay. But currently, we all know the circumstances in which we find ourselves. And I'll plead with you, let's sit and clear the 5, and then we'll see the way forward. So respectfully, I'll ask that... yes.
You see, we have now planned our gathering here in a manner that will allow government some space to operate. We all know what is happening. So when we meet here today, we are meeting tomorrow. Monday, we won't come. Tuesday, we won't come. Wednesday, we won't come, to give you the opportunity to start paying. If by Wednesday we have seen that you have started paying, we won't come on the Thursday. But if by Wednesday evening, we haven't seen any alert system working, then Thursday, we are coming here. So today we'll be here. Tomorrow we'll be here because we haven't seen anything. We will give you Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday to initiate the payment. Once we see that the payment have started flowing in, we will not come here on the Thursday. Because until we see something, that is it. That is the decision we have taken, that until we see payments, nothing will move us from here. That one. Because we have done it. We have moved from here based on these promises and it's not coming. So now we give you that time. Within the week, every Monday, a coupon or 2 may mature, depending on the days. Last Monday, there were 2 coupons. The previous Monday, there was 1 coupon. You don't know. Some days 1, some days 2, depending on it. So if the coupon matures on Monday, due on Monday, we won't stop. We will think that if government want to pay, the instructions will be given and something will be done that Monday. If it wasn't done, Tuesday we'll see a sign. If it wasn't done, Wednesday we'll see a sign. If Wednesday we haven't seen a sign, then we take it that government is unable to pay, and then we come here on the Thursday. So that room is there for you. So today and tomorrow we are here. Monday we will give you the opportunity to pay, to start paying the 15. It will be 6. I don't know what will happen Monday. We are yet to compute what will be due on Monday. Assuming it is even only 1 coupon, it will be 6 on Monday, coming Monday. If we see that action has started on the payment, by Wednesday we have seen some actions, we won't come here on the Thursday. The next week, if actions are doing it, we will also come here. Before I realize, there will be no gathering here.
Let's meet tomorrow, discuss this and look at the long-term payment for the principal. So I would plead that tomorrow you don't come whilst we meet with you and see how best we can look at things. My father here is shaking his head. But as I speak to you, yesterday we collected, or we were given the coupons that were outstanding that we needed to pay. And then we are in talks with Bank of Ghana. And so I would ask that Let's give ourselves tomorrow to have that meeting that you said you wrote to us, but we failed to respond. Let's give ourselves that opportunity to have that meeting. And then I believe that from Monday, you would see some payments being reflected for the coupons.
Madam Deputy Minister, what we will do is that tomorrow we will be here. But our leaders will come and meet with you. So that as soon as we finish, we will come and relay the message to them.
That was the Deputy Finance Minister, Abna Osei Asari, in an interaction with the pensioner bondholders who have defied the rainy morning to resume picketing at the ministry in demand of the outstanding coupons and principals.
The Chamber of Independent Power Producers, Distributors and Bulk Consumers, CIPDIB, is demanding the payment of 30% of outstanding arrears owed its members by government. This call was agreed upon at an emergency meeting of IPPs on Tuesday, 23rd May 2023. A statement issued by the Chamber and signed by its chairman, Togbi Apada the 14th, noted that the move is part of efforts to ease the pressure on members of the Chamber and enable them to continue operations. We'll bring you excerpts of that statement later.
Now, Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia has urged all factions in the Boko conflict to collaborate with government and other key stakeholders to resolve the dispute in the area. The Vice President says without peace, Boko will not see the needed development. Addressing the chiefs and queen mothers of the Upper East region, Dr. Bawumia expressed anger at the attacks, injuries, and a compromised security situation in Boko.
To say that as a son of the soil, my heart breaks about what is happening in Boko. The conflict in Boko is very unfortunate because we are really one people and we should be together and not fighting. And so I hope that the initiatives that government has initiated through the House of Chiefs and the Otumfuo that is ongoing will help us bring lasting peace to the Boko area and therefore help us develop our part of the country, because conflict leads to poverty. That has been shown very clearly. For us, on the part of government, we understand that to prevent conflict and to enhance peace, we have to make sure that development in Ghana is inclusive, that everybody must feel a part of the development that we see in the country.
You heard there the Vice President, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia. You're still listening to the Citi Prime News, live from our studios at Adabraka in Accra. Now, some stories we've been bringing you. The National Road Safety Authority has revealed that the total number of deaths from the accident at Gumwa Ochrekun in the central region on Tuesday was 6 and not 16, as earlier reported. Also, what we have brought to you so far, the pensioner bondholders have defied the morning rains to resume picketing at the Finance Ministry in demand for their outstanding coupons and principals. And also the Vice President, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, has urged factions in the Boko conflict to collaborate with government and other key stakeholders to resolve disputes in the area. Now, we'll move on with the bulletin. And the Media Coalition Against Illegal Mining says the failure of government to prosecute persons engaged in illegal mining, popularly referred to as galamsey, over 80 illegal miners have been arrested by the Obuasi District Police Command after they exited a mine shaft belonging to Anglo Gold Obuasi Mine in the Ashanti region. Speaking to Citi News, convener of the Media Coalition Against Illegal Mining, Dr. Kenashibe, said government will not achieve a different result if it continues to use the same approach in its fight.
It is basically a continuation of what happened in Wassa, Goldfields, Wassa, where you had a mob, led by foreigners with arms attacking the mine and destroying vehicles, core samples, and all of that. And it just tells me that we are getting into the state of lawlessness, where because of the fact that these illegal miners know that there are no repercussions, there are no consequences for what is being done, they are being emboldened. They have seen that the minister can call out for contract mining. They have a situation where a former DC will be caught on tape confessing to an illegality, and nothing happens to them. So why would they also not want to take their pound of flesh? And so what we're doing is that we are nesting this demon and this monster, and very soon some parts of our country will become no-go areas because these illegal miners have been emboldened, and we know the scourge of wars that surround us. We know the threat of these terrorists and all of that, and they are looking for money to fund the operation. So by the time you see it, they have come and they've taken over particular areas, and then we can't do anything about it. So it is really important that our leaders realize the fact that where we're going, we need to stop it, and things have to be done differently. And so it's just the fact that it is the next step to where we are, the slippery slope that we are on.
Dr. Kenashibe also outlined steps that ought to be taken in the fight against illegal mining.
We also now need to move to the next step. And I think for me, one of the radical ones we need to do as a coalition is that we need to now get to the point where maybe we start suing some of these people who are involved or are complicit or who have to act and are not acting. And another of the radical different things I think we should do is that we should be petitioning, the IMF, be petitioning the World Bank, so that one of the conditionalities they should be giving for being able to access this fund, this loan that we are getting, is how are we ensuring that the governance structure of our natural resources are actually being implemented. And maybe we need to help with a PR campaign that draws this down. The University of Energy and Natural Resources are talking about this media academia partnership where we come together, they do the research, and then we do the advocacy. I think the time has come. Because if we do that, and we get the local communities to start rebelling against the state, to start holding the people accountable, what we immediately will see is that democracy will start correcting it. Because the politicians, all they are interested in is the next election, not the next generation. If the community starts pushing back on this, because they want their vote, they will start acting correctly. So I think that's one of the things we need to do. How do we sensitize, the people in this community to know that these things that are happening? So maybe we need to start using shock and awe. It will be interesting if we could get billboards in these communities, showing the people who, have died, people who the stillbirth, showing them some of these children. The only thing we need to do is this whole ethical dilemma about showing children, how do we cover their faces and all of that, but still be able to shock people into action. We need to be able to demonstrate to people that their very survival is at risk.
Dr. Kenashibe is convener for the Media Coalition Against Illegal Mining. You're still listening to the Citi Prime News live from our studios at Adaraka in Accra. Still ahead in the bulletin, former Member of Parliament for Asin North, James Jachikwason, officially declares intent to contest the upcoming by-elections. We'll bring you details of this and others shortly. Do stay with us.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Updates you on all the running stories and connects you to the newsmakers.
Do you have leftover food that you don't want to throw away and are wondering what to do? Or do you have bits and pieces of ingredients that you are struggling to use to create something tasty? Or do you simply want inspiration to try something different? Well, What's Cooking is definitely the show for you. Why not watch What's Cooking to stimulate your creativity to impress your guests at the next party with a palpable taste and aroma of luxuriously delectable dishes permeating through the TV? Your culinary prowess will never be the same. What's Cooking is on every Tuesday at 6 p.m. only on Citi TV and is sponsored by Frytol, Fanice, Tasty Tom, and Indomie.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Updates you on all the running stories and connects you to the newsmakers.
You're welcome back. Many thanks for staying with us. Now, reshaping of some roads in the district capital of Assen North is currently underway as the by-election draws closer. Some residents say the construction works being witnessed in Assen Breku is due to the impending election. The NPP's Frederick Amwache and Charles Opoku will be submitting their nomination forms to the party today. The winner of the internal MPP election will contest James Chachukwason of the NDC for the slot to represent the constituency in Parliament. Our Central Regional Correspondent, Calvis Tete, has joined us via telephone for more. Calvis, many thanks for joining us. Now, what are residents saying about these construction works that have started in the constituency?
Well, there seems to be divided opinion among residents. Some are of the view that the constituency election is a time for development within that constituency where the election is going to take place. Some also believe that the party is already doing construction work already, so therefore this is nothing new to them. I spoke to some residents around. They seem to be happy with what is happening in the constituency. Some also believe that indeed they must push the sitting government to use this by-election, to develop the community. You can see gutters, some roads being constructed. The construction company got here as early as 6 a.m. This morning to start construction work. According to some residents, the main road that connects to the community was reshaped but has been abandoned for several months, and they are actually surprised that this is happening now. I have with me here a resident who better help us understand what is happening. How are you, sir?
I'm fine, thank you, boss.
Yes, there is construction work ongoing currently. Are you surprised?
Oh, not totally surprised. As you know, this contractor was on the road for some time, but because of lack of funds, he was not speeding up the work. But we know that because of the election, they have to come and push up the work. So now you see that the pace of the work have improved very, very drastically. And we are hoping that other roads and other contractors too will follow suit and do. If you come to the street Assen North, you can see a lot of projects in this town. We have the one district, one hospital ongoing. We have one new astroturf ongoing, almost 90%, 95% complete. And then there are some school projects that are also nearly completion. And we are hoping that through this by-election too, the work on all those projects will be completed for us.
Well, I've spoken to some residents, and they are saying that they are surprised because for a long while, this stretch of road that connects to the community has been abandoned after it was reshaped. Do you believe in that school of thought?
Oh, no, it was not totally abandoned. The contractors were on site. You know, the road starts from Breku town to a village called Ninchiso, Assen Ninchiso. So most of the gutters and the culverts were being done. But the pace was very slow, and we even complained about it for some time. But the contractor said it's because of lack of funds. That was why the works were moving slowly. So they were on site. Just that the work was very slow. But now you can see some form of energy in them that they are working. This morning, you can see the pace has come and they are working very hard.
This construction, do you think it will play a key role in the by-election itself?
Yes, for elections, everything counts. Everything. You don't have to let down any other thing. Because, you know, the voters, they want something before they vote. They want to see something. They want to have evidence of why they should vote. So I think if they are able to do this work, I think it may change a lot of things.
Okay. There is also another resident who is of a different opinion. I am here at the Fufro.
The Binyama de Fufro. I can almost start in 2020 election time. Yeah, election time on almost start he said Dumano. My two abana Bujim the Chikwis baby no muja a fine for. So much is a free parliament I have by election on my Saturday day. My sister in Abigu so more yedma. Bango Mujato for Ache. Yeah, 2020 now men and no Mujato. She made me the Yama de Fufro. Yana and yes, what you saw more was more than one or Muguswa or more. You know, yeah, pennies are can you much Omo Bayakano. Namia do my election, but we are Omo
Okay, Rasta, is this new to you that they are now developing this stretch of road? Highway, I don't know where the people
Me patro, enyama de foforo. Because of by-election in here. Because of by-election in here, and I can't omoye. Na mumu no. The biara gano me da me pai boni me na se ne se enfa na se ma papa James situation. Because onu ada o se yebo. Adie biara ai beku se fata a o manya makru no bia no. O be so mo tete ya mo maye. Enti o yo nu nti na ma kwan ekoso because so nkomo amfa nsem ya ntare no ai me anko by-election na. Tanga ko yo munye. Enti aye me aka me nko do ke kwa yeah, but you go see the other trauma no win. And go quite do baby on one that's one man in Sasso. Yes, another by election. Sorry, very on the top of young to do one promoter. It's me, I saw on the bar. Yeah, but now I'm about it. Barrels in the Tiva, Rapani, Yabatoma, honorable Tempeti, question, and one in
Well, what these residents are basically saying is that some were of the view that the construction of the inner roads within the Brekusu town is something new to them. That the road has been abandoned for some time, and it has taken them by surprise that just as the by-election is going to happen, they are seeing road construction and all that. But they are also saying that they also know who they are going to vote for, and the fact that when the day of the election comes, they will vote for their preferred candidates who will bring development to this constituency.
Well, Calvis, many thanks for that report. That was our Central Regional Correspondent, Calvis Tete, bringing us up to speed on some of the activities that are going on in the Asin North District regarding the upcoming by-elections.
Let's stay in Asin North because Global Info Analytics has tipped the National Democratic Congress NDC to win the Asin North constituency seat in the upcoming by-election. The EC has slated the by-election for June 27 this year. Here's the Executive Director and Head of Polls for Global Info Analytics, Musa Dankwa, speaking to City News on the chances of both the NDC and the NPP in the by-election.
The recent polling that we did in Asin North, as recent as April, there were signs of hope for the NDC to retain this, in the sense that the sentiment of voters in the constituency doesn't seem to support the ruling government. If you look at voters who said the country is headed in the wrong direction, they were about 77%. Now, if we look at the people who said in the last 12 months, the standard of living has gotten worse, was about 5%. I'm sorry. And then you look at people who said they were not optimistic that things will improve in the next 12 months, were about 80%. If you look at the key issues that affect voters in Asin North, it's the same: economy, jobs, and number 3, roads.
Executive Director and Head of Polls for Global Info Analytics, Musa Dankwa there.
Now, former Member of Parliament for Asin North in the Central Region, James Jachi, has officially declared his intention to contest in the Asin North by-election set for June 27. Mr. Quayson was ousted from Parliament and his name expunged from the legislative body's records after the Supreme Court nullified his election in the 2020 polls for holding dual citizenship. In a statement, Mr. Quayson insisted that he duly renounced his Canadian citizenship prior to contesting the 2020 polls, but the most important thing for him is to contest and win the by-election, which is the result of what the Supreme Court announced on May 17th, 2023. Mr. Jachi further stated that he is determined to continue serving the people of the Asin North.
Right. So about 6 spare parts shops and 4 vehicles have been destroyed by a fire at Asukwa within the Asukwa municipality in the Ashanti region. The incident, according to eyewitnesses, happened on Wednesday night around 9 p.m. The swift intervention of the fire service prevented the fire from spreading to other shops. Shop owners are currently counting their losses as they lament the effects on their livelihoods. The Ashanti Regional Public Relations Officer of the Ghana National Fire Service, DO3, Peter Adai, who has been speaking to City News, said there were no casualties recorded.
Around 9:36 p.m. last night, we received a distress call reporting a fire at Asukwa near the ARC building. we quickly dispatched our tender to the scene, and when they got there, the fire was well developed, and they called in for assistance. So we dispatched 2 more tenders to the fire scene. The fire affected 5 metal containers, a wooden structure, and 4 vehicles. There were no casualties. By 10:35 p.m., the fire was under control, and by 11 p.m., we had totally extinguished the fire. As a result of the wind direction, the heat wave affected the 4 vehicles, but the 5 metal containers and the wooden structure were totally burnt by the fire.
DO3 Peter Adai is the Ashanti Regional Public Relations Officer of the Ghana National Fire Service.
Now, inadequate ophthalmologists and limited health facilities in the Bono region continue to pose significant challenges to accessing cataract surgeries. With only 2 ophthalmologists available in the region, the situation remains dire. Approximately 11,000 individuals in the region are afflicted with cataracts, and without the necessary surgeries, they risk losing their eyesight completely. Citi News' Michael Sapong-Fum has more in this report.
Access to cataract surgeries in the Bono region remains a challenging endeavor. With only 2 ophthalmologists stationed at the Bono Regional Hospital and the AZA Hospital in Sunyani, the demand surpasses the available resources. The AZA Hospital, in collaboration with the Himalayan Cataract Project and the National Cataract Outreach Program, conducted 285 free cataract surgeries. However, despite their efforts, numerous individuals in the region still suffer from cataract. To extend their services to a greater number of people, the hospital has initiated a rural outreach program. This program involves screening of individuals for cataracts in remote areas, ensuring those diagnosed with the condition are scheduled for surgeries later in the year. I had the privilege of joining Dr. Louis Otinjima, an ophthalmologist at the SDA Hospital in Sunyani, and his team on a 5-hour journey to Brody and Namasa in the Tang district, as well as Duadaso in the German North district. The mission was to screen individuals with cataract and book them for surgeries, so their failing eyesight can be restored. During the trip, the team also provided additional medication to over 20 individuals who had recently undergone surgeries, ensuring their continued treatment.
In the Bono region, it's been estimated that almost about 11,000 people are either blind or severely visually impaired from cataracts, for whom surgical operation of their cataract will help to improve their vision. But there are lots of barriers when it comes to people getting access to cataract surgeries, and one of those barriers has to do with costs. There are both direct and indirect costs. If you go to most facilities in Ghana, especially in the big cities, cataract surgery for one eye could cost you between 1,000 to about 3,000 Ghana cedis. Those are the direct costs. Think about the cost of transportation. There are also barriers with regards to fear. Most people are really afraid to have cataract surgery for one reason or the other. People who are blind from cataract should not be blind from cataract, because now some simple surgical procedure can be done. Within a few minutes, their eyes are closed, and then the following day, when the eyes are opened, they are able to see very well again. And that's why over the past few days, at Sunyani SDA Hospital, with the support of the Himalayan Cataract Project through the National Cataract Outreach Program, they've supported us to perform cataract surgeries at no direct cost to almost about 300 people.
Are you happy with the feedback we are getting from those who conducted surgeries on?
And we are all very happy with the outcome as we see today. Most of the people are very happy. Those whose hand had to be held when they were coming for the surgery, now they came for the review themselves, and they are all testifying to the good outcomes of the surgery. And that, in a long way, has helped to reduce the fear that people had when you mentioned cataract surgery to them. As we came today, most of the people who had been screened earlier who will benefit from the cataract surgery who did not come because of fear. Most of them have come now and they are ready to have the surgery done. And we have taken note of all those people. At the next opportunity, we shall organize and then come and do the surgeries for them.
Some of the people who recently benefited from a free cataract surgery shared their experiences with Citi News.
I went there on the 10th of May, and on the 11th, that they made the surgery. In fact, I'm very glad that I can see clear. It isn't like the other day when I went there. So I'm very happy that they have done this thing for me. Now I can identify anything, whatever I see, I know I'm clear. Even I can say that it is clearer than when I was born. So I'm advising the people that whosoever is there mustn't steer, he mustn't entertain any fears, for there is no mistake in it, and there's no pain. When they make it for you, you become very well as it is, and you can go to your work at any time. So they shouldn't fear. That is what I'm advising them. Now I can see well. So I thank the SDA hospital of what they have done for me.
Dr. Otinjima shares his thoughts on what could be done to reduce cataract cases in the Bono region.
For the whole Bono region, there are 2 ophthalmologists who are actively working. That is woefully inadequate compared to what the WHO requires, that for every 250,000 population, there should be at least 1 ophthalmologist giving services. Okay, but for a population of about 1.2 million, there are only 2 ophthalmologists, and that is woefully inadequate. So going forward, we need to ensure that we have more people to provide the service, and also they are well resourced, they are equipped, the equipment that they need to be able to perform the services for people, and also the consumables that they need, they are regularly provided, so that people who are blind from treatable causes like cataracts can have their vision restored.
From Brody, in the tiny district of the Bono region, I am Michael Saponifum for Citi News.
Back here in Accra, in the studios of Citi FM, I am Wilma Obubisa Coleman here with Caleb Kuda. Still ahead in the bulletin, Ghana Revenue Authority Compliance Task Force apprehend retail shop owners in Ashaiman for failing to issue tax invoices to customers. We'll bring you details of that story and others shortly. Do stay with us.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday updates you on all the running stories and connects you to the newsmakers.
Happy birthday to you. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust.
Throughout all life-changing moments such as graduations, weddings, funerals, birthdays, ATL is there to ensure you're never out of style. When you think fabric, think ATL. Log on to atlfabrics.com. Order and buy your favorite ATL fabric. You can also visit our shop at number 40 Kwame Nkrumah Avenue, opposite the Swansea Shopping Arcade at Accra Central. Also available in leading fabric dealer shops in Accra, Kumasi, and Cape Coast. ATL, bringing fabric to life.
The City Sports Crew is back on the road. This Saturday, City rivals Manchester City and Manchester United will both be looking to clinch their second titles of the season when they face off at the Wembley Stadium in the FA Cup final. Pep Guardiola and his men will be looking to add to their EPL title as they chase a historic treble this season. Eric Ten Hag's Red Devils are also looking to finish the season on a high as they seek to do the double, setting up a tasty encounter. Join us at the Gazebo View in Jowolo as we enjoy great food, exciting banter, and amazing vibes. The EPL Roadshow on Citi FM is powered by the City Sports team with support from DSTV for Business and Gazebo View, and sponsored by Betway and Good Day Energy Drink.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday updates you on all the running stories and connects you to the newsmakers.
You're welcome back. Now, the Ghana Revenue Authority's Domestic VAT Compliance Task Force has recently stepped up its enforcement efforts in Ashaman Township. During the operation, several shops were raided and essential record documents were confiscated. This move is crucial step taken by the GRA to ensure that tax laws are being followed and to increase government's revenues. We'll go over the phone lines to speak to my colleague Fred Duho, who is with the GRA task force this afternoon to tell us more. Fred, many thanks for joining us. Tell us about today's exercise.
So the exercise started from the Ashaiman municipality, and so far 3 shop or retail shop owners or managers have been apprehended by the task force, and this is part of effort by GRE to intensify its tax law compliance and to equally raise revenue for the government kitty. So basically, this is an exercise that has been ongoing for the past 2 months, from the records. And the GRA basically is aiming at enforcing tax compliance. But specifically within the Ashama jurisdiction today, it came to light that most of the retail shop owners do not issue VAT receipts to people who go into their shops to purchase items. And one of the shop owners who was actually venting her anger made statement claiming that almost every shop in the within the town do not issue VAT, and that why should she be targeted? But it was explained to her that it's not any form of targeting, but basically it is a process, and it will reach almost every retail shop that is not paying the right tax, or when people go to their shops to purchase items, they are not issuing the VAT to them, in effect charging the tax that the citizens are supposed to pay for the government to recoup the needed revenue to develop the nation.
Now, Fred, what has been the reaction of these shop owners who were apprehended? What is the excuse?
2 of them were calm. They actually followed the task force, but only one person was not happy with the way and manner the task force invaded her shop, and she was only venting her anger, basically to the effect that no shop within the Ashama township pays VAT, and as to why it is so or where she's getting that VAT from, that has not been retorted from the task force. So basically, she later complied with the task force, and she's currently in the van accompanying the task force, where she'll be taken, or all of them will be taken to the GRA headquarters in Accra for the necessary investigations to take place. But leaving Ashama currently, we are heading to Tema, where the exercise, I believe, would still continue within the Tema jurisdiction.
All right, thank you so much for that update. That was Citi News' Fred Duho giving us an update of the GRA's VAT compliance exercise. They are in Ashaiman, or they just finished with Ashaiman. They are moving to Tema. Caleb has more stories.
A closed-door meeting between the leadership of organized labor and the government, represented by Employment and Labor Minister Ignatius Baffour Ewua, is currently ongoing at the Trades Union Congress in Accra. The purpose of the meeting is to, among other things, address matters affecting Ghanaian workers, taking into consideration the potential effects of the International Monetary Fund conditions on the Ghanaian workforce. The meeting demonstrates a collaborative effort between the government to engage in dialogue, negotiate, and find resolutions that addresses the concerns and demands of Ghanaian workers. Other key stakeholders cited by Citi News in the meeting include the Civil and Local Government Staff Association, the National Association of Graduate Teachers, the Ghana National Teachers Association, and the Ghana Mine Workers Union.
The Minister of Employment, Labour Relations and Pensions, Ignatius Baffour, is calling for a deeper investment into the pensions sector. Out of the over 12 million workers in the country, less than 2 million are currently registered under pension schemes, a situation the sector minister describes as worrying. Ignatius Baffour made this call in an interview with Citi News on the sidelines of an inauguration of the Easting, Oti and Volta Regional Office of the National Pensions Regulatory Authority Zonal Office in Koforidua.
And the management is equally growing. That is why government thinks that it is necessary, it takes very good care of the industry. Hence, the creation of the regulatory body, NPRA. Because if there were no such a regulatory body and industry players were doing their own things, then perhaps nobody can guarantee what will happen in future so far as management of these pension schemes are concerned. But thankfully, government thought through it and they created the National Pensions Regulatory Authority as an authority that will supervise operations within the pension industry.
2 million Ghanaians are registered onto the pension scheme.
Less than that.
Less than that. Tell us, are you happy about it? What is the way
If
forward?
I were happy, I wouldn't be here today because a pension is a social security or social protection tool. As a minister for employment, anytime I engage labor on negotiations, you ask them what they use their disposable incomes on. Some of them, apart from mentioning that they use part of their disposable incomes in making sure that they provide food for the family, clothing, shelter for the family, they also use some to take care of their aged parents. Why? Because most of these aged parents are persons who don't have any reliable source of income. So even in deepening pensions, in a way you are reducing the burden of workers, and to some extent you are also reducing the extent to which they make demand for higher wages and what have you. So besides being a minister for pensions, even in my role as minister for labor, I think ordinary I should be interested in issues of pensions.
Ignatius Bafwewa is the Minister of Employment, Labour Relations and Pensions. The Chief Executive of the National Pensions Regulatory Authority, Hayford Atakrufi, indicated that going forward, the MPRA will prudently expand the assets base through investment in bonds, real estate, equity, and real sectors of the economy.
Every nation depends on its pension assets. Remember, after the Second World War, when Europe collapsed, literally as a result of the ravages of war, it was pension funds that they had invested, which they used to regrow their economies. And if you go to every developed country, pension funds are the base of any economic growth. And therefore, we take our pension assets very, very serious because it is going to help resuscitate the growth of the economy. If you look at the assets that we invest in, the traditional assets and the alternative assets, government bonds, treasury bills, corporate bonds, equities, real estate, and so on and so forth. These are real areas of the economy that pension funds can help grow. And that's why we consider this very, very important for us.
Hayford Atakrufi is the Chief Executive of the National Pensions Regulatory Authority. Now, the Africa Center for Counter-Terrorism has requested that the government collaborates with the National Commission for Civic Education to intensify their campaign on the See Something, Say Something initiative. In May 2022, the Ministry of National Security launched this initiative to encourage citizens to report suspicious acts of terrorism and violent extremism. However, 1 year after the launch, the African Center for Counter-Terrorism believes that insufficient resources have been dedicated to educating people on the strategy. The center is concerned that Ghana may be at risk if effective measures are not taken as terrorist activities continue to increase in the sub-region. Emmanuel Kuting, the executive director of the African Center for Counter-Terrorism, expressed these concerns.
To look at the way the terrorists have expanded their tactics in dealing with some of these issues, it's always right and proper to bring in the citizenry. I'm asking government to scale up that process and depoliticize it. That government nominated to lead the process, it defeated the entire essence of the campaign. We realized just recently the National Commission on Civic Education have gotten funding to embark on sensitizing the people about violent extremism. So government should have partnered the National Commission for Civil Education, which is NCC, to undertake that campaign.
Emmanuel Kuting is the executive director of the African Center for Counterterrorism.
Now, a group calling itself the Concerned Staff of the University of Education, Winneba, is appealing to President Akufo-Addo to immediately withdraw the appointment of Nana Ofori-Ansah I as council chairman of the university. The group also wants the president to dissolve the council. The group argues that the actions and inaction of the chairman of the governing council, Nana Ofori-Ansah I, coupled with what they say is his arbitrary disregard for laid down procedures in the running of the university, has led to alleged heightened tension in the university. Professor George Kankam Sr. is a spokesperson for the group.
We want the university to have peace. Since 2015, it has always been the news for bad reasons. But what Nana Ofori-Ansah is trying to do will rather create chaos in the university. And that we are pleading with Nana Akufo-Addo to dissolve this council. And another issue we want to say is that we are pleading with Nana Akufo-Addo and the government that we should stop our politicians. We respect our politicians and love them. We have nothing against them. But we need to be bold and courageous as education to say that the government should please let politicians take their hands off the university administration and management. If we make the politicians the kingmakers of the university, will do education great harm, and posterity will ask us that we have not done the right thing.
Professor George Kankam Sr. is the spokesperson for a group calling itself the Concerned Staff of the University of Education, Winneba.
You're still listening to the Citi Prime News live from our studios at Adabraka in Accra. Now, some stories we've been bringing you is that the National Road Safety Authority has revealed that the total number of death tolls from the accident at Gomwa or Chirekon in the Central Region on Tuesday was 6 and not 16 as earlier reported. We also had the pensioner bondholders defying the morning rains to resume picketing at the Finance Ministry in demand for their outstanding coupons and principles. Now, a political science lecturer, Professor Ransford Jampo, is questioning an order by President Akufo-Addo directing senior management of the Electoral Commission to submit their curriculum vitae CVs to his office. Professor Jampo argues that the EC must be allowed to operate as the independent body of the Constitution mandates it to. Speaking to Citi News, Ransford Jampo said the Commission can't defy the directive by the President.
The commission is an independent commission, and it is clothed with the necessary legalities to defy orders from the executive president that attempt to undermine the independence of the commission. I mean, you are asking for their CV for what? Is it the president who appointed those directors? And is he trying to give them another job? Or is he trying to question the authenticity of what they have achieved? Is he trying to question their promotion processes and all that? I mean, these are matters that the independent commission has internal arrangements to handle. It is not the mandate or the duty of the president to be appointing directors of the electoral commission. They have their own recruitment system. People have been promoted as directors based on meritocracy. The electoral commission, the president is not the one who is supposed to be appointing directors of the commission. And so why does the president want to extend his tentacles of political kinkonism to independent commissions?
You heard the Professor Ransford Jampo, who is a political science lecturer at the University of Ghana. And that's how we end Citi Prime News, which has been live from our studios at Adabraka, Accra. It was also live on all our partner stations across the country. In the Western region, we're on Premier 100.5 FM and Beach 105.5 FM, all in Takoradi. In the Bono region, we're on Greener FM 95.9 in Sunyani. In the Ashanti region, you listen to us on Orange FM 107.9 in Kumasi. In the Volta region, we're on Global 105.1 FM in Ho and Adanu 107.7 FM in Adakluwaya. In the northern region, you listen to us on Diamond 93.7 FM in Tamale. In the Upper West, we're on West Link 88.1 FM in Laura. In the Upper East, we're on Source 100.1 FM in Boko. And in the Northeast, we're on SCAP 101.3 FM in Nangpanduri. For more news, you can log on to our website, citynewsroom.com. I am Wilma Obubi Sakoman, and this afternoon I did this with
Kayla.